And welcome to the Van Wezel, everybody. I'm Mary Bensel, Executive Director here at the beautiful Van Wezel Performing Arts Hall, and I'm with the beautiful Julia Mays, our Marketing Director and our little cohort on our program here. But we had the best time at our gala, which was in February. Jay Leno was here, and he was here the day after he ended his 22-year run on the Tonight Show.
That was pretty exciting just by itself.
Oh my gosh! You know, he flew in and on a private jet, and they had to have a big party after the show that night, and he looked exhausted, but he got on stage and he sparkled.
He did. He really did. And our audience was so appreciative. I mean, it truly was an exciting evening.
It really was, and we're going to have him back next year, and it'd be fun to have Jimmy Fallon come some night as well.
Oh, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because he's doing a great job.
Yeah,
but
he is.
We feel like we're part of the Tonight Show right now, don't you?
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. But we've also added a guest that's coming, and that is John Legend. And John Legend has a gorgeous new record out, and he will be with us at the very end of this season. I think it's April
27th.
27th.
Yep.
It's a Sunday night at 7 o'clock. Still tickets available, but I suggest getting them as soon as possible because we've sold.
It's going to be a fabulous show.
Oh,
absolutely fabulous.
And he's playing solo piano, but there will also be some additional, I think, strings behind him, and he writes the most romantic.
You might have seen him on the Grammys.
He was on the Grammys along with Long Long, who was there, and Merle Haggard. We felt like it was Van Wezel night at the Grammys.
It was kind of like at the Van Wezel.
It was. But we have also added one of your favorites.
Yes.
And I am really bummed to say I'm going to be in Orlando at a conference for booking for next year, but Alton Brown is coming with his Edible Inedible tour. What does that mean, Julia?
He is quite the individual. You know, he started out with this new with a program called Good Eats, and I still watch it. It's like 13 years ago. That's how he started, and he wanted to be in film. But he ended up thinking that he could do better on cooking, and the cooking shows were so boring, he was going to take his film background.
Well, shall we take a look at it right now?
Yes, let's do that.
That's exciting. Great.
And that show is going to be here on the, March the 2nd, 7 o'clock. I think there may still be a few tickets left, but this is going to be great fun. And I hear you have to wear a poncho or something.
Oh, at least in the first 10 rows.
I know. So
you thought Gallagher was fun.
I know.
This tops it.
So I'm really bummed I won't see it, but hopefully next time.
Yeah.
And then we have Chicago coming, and it's one of everybody's favorite musicals. I saw it, the original version, which was got to be 30 years ago. But then they redid it, and it's been running on Broadway forever. And we have a new performer that's going to star in it.
Starring John O'Hurley from Dancing with the Stars. And, from Dancing with the Stars and Seinfeld.
Well, I was also going to say, I'm going farther back. He was a star on General Hospital. And of course, my dirty secret is I started watching General Hospital when I was in like the 4th grade. And folks, I would book my college classes so I could still see General Hospital.
He's a handsome man, too.
He is very attractive.
Yes.
I know. And that we had 2 shows, but it sold out. So we had to add an extra matinee, and that matinee is going to be on March 5th at 2 p.m. There's still many great seats for that one. And it's razzle dazzle. It's
more razzle dazzle in Sarasota.
Gorgeous girls, and the dancing is amazing. Of course, that Fosse dancing. And I think we could talk about it, but let's look at Chicago.
Yes, let's do that.
No, I'm no one's wife, but I love my life and all
That's going to be great fun, and I'm going to be back in time for the 2 o'clock matinee.
Oh,
so I'm really excited that I'm not going to
Excellent.
miss Chicago. But you mentioned Jerry Seinfeld.
Yes.
He is coming back triumphantly to the Van Wezel. I saw him just the other night on the Tonight Show, and he was very funny. He
is always funny, isn't he?
He is, and he's doing 2 shows. I don't know, folks. Always check at the last minute because, they may, sometimes performers hold on to tickets and they release some the day of the show. But Jerry Seinfeld will be doing 2 shows on March the 7th, so you could try to check that out. And then this has been sort of the Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons year at the Van Wezel. First we had Under the Street Lamp back in December, and they were amazing. They were some of the original Jersey Boys guys.
Yes.
Then the other night we had the Hitmen, which were, they had 2 of the 4 original seasons. I kept joking we had spring and summer, but I don't know. It could have been fall and winter.
Well, that was a great show, wasn't it?
It was a great show.
Oh my gosh.
And then we, of course, have the real Frankie Valli. Now, the seasons are a bit younger than the original Jersey boy in front. And of course, I'm an original Jersey girl, so you know.
So you like them younger,
Yeah,
I bet.
I do. You know, they look great. And I saw you dancing along with them
Oh,
last
yes.
year. But this show is another one that's almost sold out. So, but check at the last minute. You may be able to get tickets, and that's March 10th. And then later in the season, we're having the Midtown Men back, which had the original cast of Jersey Boys in that show. So it's really the Frankie Valli season. I think it's leading up to something we can't talk about yet, but I guess maybe you can guess what's going to happen at the Van Wezel very shortly. And then we have the Peking Acrobats, and they make me nervous. It's here on March 12th, and we have different acrobatic troupes every year, and this is a different one, but they all have, you know, a set of tricks, and they do one. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. They build these chairs.
Oh yes, when they stack all the chairs.
They build them up in the front row. They go beyond the proscenium, and I am like, I mean, you know, I have trouble getting, you know, in and out of every chair because I had hip and knee replacements. These guys climb on top of the chairs, and then inevitably I have children or senior citizens in the front row, and I'm like, and I know they do this every day of the week, but I'm like, oh. You know,
It's still nerve-wracking.
It's nerve-wracking, and they do all sorts of positions, and they get into, and this is a great show to bring the kids to.
Yeah, it's a good family show.
Do you remember last year we were walking out of the theater, and a guy and his son came out?
Oh yeah, that little boy.
Oh, he was so cute, and he said, "Dad, this was the best thing I ever saw." And the dad was like, "Buddy, I'm so glad." And he's like, "Dad, this was great for you and I," because you know they were making it a sort of a man outing,
Yeah.
and it was adorable. And I think this is something that both boys and girls can appreciate because
Sure.
and we've just seen so much on the Olympics, and this is a lot of what these people, you know, train to
Yeah.
do because you have to be good at ballet and acrobatics to do, you know, all that half pipe
Lots
stuff.
of athleticism.
Absolutely, and they're here on March the 12th. And then one of my particular favorites, and I would have never liked this show if it wasn't for you, Julia.
Aw.
I'm talking about Aaron Neville.
Yep.
And we had years ago the Neville brothers, and I'm not much of a jazz fan, and Julia is the jazz queen extraordinaire. You know, she loves it. And I tell you, you know, going out of my comfort zone to see that show, it opened up all sorts of new windows for me.
Yeah, and he's very New Orleans, you know, that jazzy
Yes.
New Orleans style, and that's what I think
Plus
makes
he's-
him unique.
Folks, he's gorgeous.
Yes.
He always wears those short little shirts, you know, he has the best arms, oh my gosh. But he's also with the Dirty Dozen Brass Band.
Yes.
And I think this is going to be a rollicking, great fun evening, and that's March 13th. We have tickets available. And then we switch. We talked about we talk about music, and we are going right into classical with Academy of St. Martin's in the Field, which their leader and their soloist is Josh Bell. And
Yes.
Josh Bell, I mean, we have two great violinists that come and play here often. Itzhak Perlman, and who is a master, and then we have Josh Bell. And Josh Bell is this young guy. I can't remember how much his violin is insured for, but
It's quite an enormous amount.
Millions of dollars, folks, and it's going to be a great, great concert. And then we have Julia's favorite funny man,
Oh my
Bill
gosh.
Cosby. He pulled such a trick on Julia last time he was here. He tricked her into doing a bet with him on a college football game that had happened the day before. She fell for it and, of course, lost, you know, because they had already won.
He plans it that way
He does.
every
He
year.
likes to take advantage of you.
I
And
know.
Bill is going to be here March the 16th at 3 o'clock and 7. And I think, Julia, he's already got your number. And
I
he's been
think he
calling me,
does.
you know, making sure.
He
And then
does.
in our next segment, we're going to tell you a little bit about Beauty and the Beast, one of my favorite musicals, or favorite musicals.
fragrant.
Yeah, fragrance. They're fragrant. They do, you know, be our guest.
absolutely.
And we'll be back just in a second with one of our sponsors.
Did you know City of Sarasota drinking water is very safe? Tested every 2 hours. Delivered right to your house. Much more affordable than bottled water. Environmentally friendly. And it tastes good. City of Sarasota water. Safe, affordable, environmentally friendly.
And welcome back to At the Van Wezel. I'm Mary Bensel again, and as I promised, we have Melodie Dickerson with us here from the State College of Florida, who is sponsoring the Indigo Girls, which is one of our fun shows coming up. But Melodie, you have an enormous title. Can you tell us what it is?
It is a very long title.
I know, you must be important.
Well, I don't know if I'm that important, but the title is Chair of the Music Department / Director of Choral and Vocal Studies.
Okay.
So is that enough for you?
That's
It sounds
plenty.
bigger
That's
than
plenty.
it is. But
somebody wanted to give me a bigger title, and I said, I'm just fine with the
Fine with
little
that,
one that
yes.
fits on the business card, you know.
Right.
But tell us, the State College of Florida, you used to be known by a different name.
we were, and I'm sure a lot of people remember Manatee Community College.
Oh,
and if they've been in
sure.
the community very long, Manatee Junior College before that.
Wow.
And then in 2008, the name was changed kind of in response to around the state, instead of making them community colleges, two-year colleges. So we're now
Yeah.
the State College of Florida.
I know Edison Community College, I used to work at the
Yes.
Barbara Mann Hall down there, and they changed their name too,
Yes.
so I'm sure it's part of all of that. But you do a lot of with the arts yourself. I mean, you're a member of Actors Equity, you're a singer, and then you're president of a major organization here in Tampa.
I have a varied background. I say jack of all trades, maybe master of none, and that's kind of
Me too.
Yeah, you know, teaching in a two-year college offers a lot of things. You get to do a lot of things, and you have to do a lot of things. But in my particular job, I get to conduct 2 choirs, direct the musical theater ensemble. I have 14 private voice students, and then I
Wow.
get to oversee the whole program. So, and interface with all of our faculty. So that's, you know, it's a lot of fun to do that sort of thing.
Well, I used to be a voice student too, so.
You
Yeah,
did? La 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 la, let's
There you
hear
go.
it.
Oh, no, I do that quite badly, but no, yes, I placed 7th in the state of Pennsylvania when I was in high school, but you know, it's something that you either go on with or you take it, and
That's
you know, I
right.
became part of the entertainment industry, so it really has led and opened doors for me.
Well, and I was just going to say, with that varied background that you mentioned, prior to coming here, which I have been at the college for 10 years, I lived around many different places, most recently in Boston, and I did perform in a lot of different shows and sang, did a lot of things like that prior to having children. And then once children came along, then I went more in the directing and teaching route. So love
Sure.
both of it. Would still like to do it.
Well, everybody, you know, they say everybody, we can have it all. There
Yes,
you go,
yes,
right? You know,
yes.
sometimes you have to change a little bit. But tell me a little bit more about the college. I know you're focused mostly in the music department, but what kind of degrees does the college offer? And don't you have external studies as well?
We have many different degrees at State College of Florida, or SCF as it's known, including now our workforce bachelor degree program. So in nursing and technology and many different things like that, online courses. But the bulk of the college is still that 2-year degree.
So you do have some four-year degrees.
We do have some 4-year degrees, but the bulk of our college is the 2-year degrees, helping students matriculate on to the next level.
And I think that's a very important part of the education process, having, you know, available to students both 2-year programs and 4-year programs.
It's wonderful. I actually love the 2-year process because our students, sometimes they're not financially able to go on. Sometimes their grades may not be there, or sometimes they're just not in an emotional place where they're ready to leave.
Yeah, or you haven't decided what you want, right?
And we say, come here, especially in our music program, which we feel is one of the best in the state, if not the best. And just a little moment to brag, in the last 10 years, when we go to our annual music symposium, our college has won more awards than any other college in the entire state.
Wow.
So it's because of our faculty, phenomenal faculty members. We have 5 full-time faculty and then about 30 adjuncts, all of whom play in the Sarasota Orchestra, work with the opera. You know, we have a retired Metropolitan Opera singer, and the list goes on and on.
And I also read somewhere that you were among the top 100 colleges in the producers of those associate degrees.
Absolutely.
And you've done that year after year
Year
after
after year. And our students, when they matriculate to the next university level, not just music, they end up scoring higher and they have a greater rate of completion.
Now, not all your students are going to be 18 or 19 or 20 years old, right?
No, that's correct. And even in our music department, we have returning students.
So I could go back and
You
just
could come
fit
back.
right in?
Sometimes we've had moms that have come, you know, they wanted to do it and then they came back when their student, I don't know how the student felt about that, but you know, we have had veterans, we've had lots of other folks who have come back at a later time. And they don't always want to get a degree. Sometimes they just want to take classes to help improve where they are.
And I've often wondered about online degrees because maybe because I wonder about my stick-to-itiveness if I did it online. But does that work for a lot of people?
I think it does. It offers options for people who just don't have that time, or they're working full-time during the day and they need that other time.
Can you do that with vocal coaching though?
Well, we don't offer it now, but I have done a few Skype sessions with students, you know,
great.
from former places, and we do things like that, a little coaching. But we do offer music appreciation as an online class, and that's been very successful for us.
And of course here at the Van Wezel we have so many performers that I would think it would be a natural for, you know, whether we have, you know, classical music or, you know, the Indigo Girls who have been around for a long time, but they're putting a little spin on it with performing with the symphony orchestra. So I think that was a great choice to be the sponsor of that.
Right, and that also speaks to our level of collaboration within the community. And
isn't that key?
It is so key, and I believe the arts in Sarasota are really coming together. We've been able to partner with the Artist Series, Sarasota, Gloria Music High, Sarasota Pops Orchestra, many of the local churches, of course, to do events and concerts.
We do that as well, and we just had a fundraising luncheon where we used one of the local choral groups, and it was really inspiring and wonderful. But now, if somebody wanted to either go for adult education or actually look for a degree, where would they go and find that? Is there a website or a phone number?
Well, for adult education, that would be our corporate and community development area, and there is a phone number which I'm not going to quote because I can't remember it off the top of my head.
Well, we'll get it, folks, and stick it on the screen.
Up there. But that they can have. We offer a wide variety of classes, and then of course you can go to the college website, which is www.scf.edu, to get more information.
Because I think that's a wonderful thing to sign up, and I also am always vowing that I'm going to take another class. So, folks, we have a great resource in our community and one that we're going to form a deeper partnership. And so I want to thank you. You have been delightful, and we will see you very soon back at the college. And
thank you so much.
Maybe next time we have you on, we'll have you sing.
Oh, that would be great.
That would be a great thing.
And I just wanted to mention, too, we also have a wonderful theater program. We have an art gallery, so we have many things to offer to the community.
So this fits very well with the Van Wezel.
Yes.
And we'll be talking about some of those theater and musical offerings when we're back at the Van Wezel. And welcome back to At the Van Wezel. I'm Mary Bensel, and here's Julia Mays. And Julia, we talked about your favorite comedian, Bill Cosby, because you two are like this. And I keep talking to Bill because my niece went to Temple, and I've worked with Bill for years. And
I know. I've
lots of stories. If you ever run into Julia and I, we can tell you lots of Bill's stories. But we have another one. We have Joan Rivers coming.
Yep. And you and I love her. She
oh
is
my gosh.
quite the trip.
Do you remember the day you and I got up early on a Sunday morning, like at 11 a.m. to go see her documentary?
To see her Wasn't that phenomenal, though?
Oh my gosh.
You have a greater appreciation for her after seeing that.
And of course, Joan is not a show I would bring the little ones to, because she had said 7 or 8 times a specific word that begins with an F before she ever got on stage.
Yes.
She was backstage heckling her own opening act, and Joan last time gave away the plants from the hall to the front row of the audience.
A hoot and a half, though?
Oh my gosh. I was like,
and she thinking that they were in plastic buckets.
And they weighed like hundreds of
pounds. They had cement in them, and she's trying to toss them in the audience.
So come see Joan Rivers. We have seats available. but not too many because people are really
Yeah.
rushing. It's a year of comedy at the Van Wezel.
I know,
That's
it's
been a
fun.
theme the
Fun,
whole
fun,
year.
fun.
And Joan is great. And then you meet her. We've been lucky enough to meet her, and we've done a meet and greet. And we had our graphic artist last time, and Tim wore some of Joan Rivers' jewelry from her Joan Rivers collection on QVC. And the next day, there Tim was on Joan's Facebook page.
It
you
was
know?
too fun.
But she's a little tiny lady, and she's so sweet and kind.
And the hardest worker you'll ever want to
Oh my
meet.
gosh, if I had that much energy. And then we segue to a musical, Beauty and the Beast. I
Yeah.
think this is one of my favorite all-time musicals. Disney, it's the great Disney musical, and it's filled with gorgeous songs. Be Our
Yeah.
Guest, Beauty and the Beast.
I mean, you go out of the theater feeling fantastic.
Oh yeah,
so-
and this is a show
even
for
if
the
you've seen
entire
it,
family.
come see it again.
Julie, I've seen it maybe 8 or
Yeah,
10
I
times.
know.
We have a little clip right now, and we're going to show it to you. But I have to tell you, Beauty and the Beast is just, you feel good. And that's what we need to do these years, is
Yes.
feel good. So this is a little from Beauty and the Beast. I almost tried to sing that song, you know, right before we went into
Oh.
break.
Oh.
But it's a fantastic musical, folks. It's here for 2 days, March 17th and 18th, and we made it an earlier curtain, 7 o'clock, so that you can bring
Yeah.
some of the smaller ones.
Yes,
And-
please bring smaller
And
ones.
call us at 953-3368 to get tickets. Go to our box office, or our website is
Yeah.
terribly popular.
vanwezel.org.
ORG, yes. And then we have the Irish tenors come. And the Irish tenors we've had a number of times. I go every single time, as I know you do.
Yep.
Because we go together. You know, we're there singing and bopping on almost every show.
And three great guys. Finbar Wright, they've been here before, Anthony Kearns, and Ronan Tynan.
Ronan Tynan, I
Yeah.
think, is
I
you
think
know, sort of
everybody's-
everybody's favorite.
Yeah.
But Ronan went out a little bit on his own, and it didn't work as well as the dynamic with the three of them.
Yeah.
And they do 2 shows. They do a holiday show, and they do an Irish show. And this show is all Irish music. And if you like the standards, you won't be disappointed. And if you like new jazzed up versions, you'll also get a little
Yeah,
taste of that
with
as
a little
well.
humor in it also. They're so fun.
And then
Just fun.
we're having one of, and this is the thing I talk about all the time, diversity. We're having one of my really good buddies, and I must say, this guy is so wonderful to work with. Vince Gill, I'm talking about. He's been here almost every year I've been here. I was in Nashville last year. I saw him with a group, and we're hoping to announce that we're going to bring him and this group back next year. It's called
Oh, I know what group you're talking
the Time
about, but
Jumpers.
I'm not, yeah.
Oh, you know, and so Vince Gill is the nicest man. I mean, he's done meet and greets where he sat and listened to a young man play an entire song after he'd met 50 people. He's on stage, folks, unassuming. He goes on for hours singing. And this year we get a call, and he goes, and they go, Vince wants to bring his wife with him. And ordinarily, when we hear performers want to bring their family, we normally are like, oh, well, Vince Gill's wife is Amy Grant.
Yes.
So that is like really special. So she, of course, has been here with Vince in their holiday show, but this is the first time, and they're going to be singing each other's hits. Hopefully they're going to be on stage together a good deal of the time, and it's March 21. And hopefully we'll be able to tell you then if the time travelers are going to be able to make it next year, because
Yeah.
we're trying to do that. And this is a group where Vince plays in the group, and he's just one of the guys.
He's
And
just
it's-
one of the guys. He doesn't try to take the thing over.
Now then we have Johnny Clegg and Lady Smith Black Mambazo. Jules, what
And
can
Lady
you tell us?
Smith, Black Mambazo, 3-time Grammy winners.
Yes, they
it's
are.
Some wonderful music. I mean, it's kind of,
And these folks are from South Africa. And I was lucky enough to travel to South Africa about a year and a half ago. It was the trip of my lifetime. In fact, our sponsor of the show, Touch of Africa, holds those tours, and you can go over to St. Armand's Circle and see
yeah.
a little bit
They'll
of the
be
tour.
there that night. You can sign up.
Yeah, you could sign up, and I'm apparently a legend in their presentations about their
Yes,
African
we've
tours
heard.
because of
We've
course I
heard.
made quite a scene on the African
It's
trip.
like
I'm
Mary is
sure.
like a celebrity in the
I know,
Sarasota.
I sang to the elephants. The giraffes called me by name by the time I left. It was quite the thing. But Johnny Clegg and Lady Smith Black Mambazo. Johnny Clegg is a white ambassador from South Africa, and Lady Smith Black Mambazo obviously is a black group that originated. There's so many different tribes in South Africa, and part of the problem were all the tribes didn't speak together. And Mandela's tribe and this tribe did not get along. And yet when Paul Simon came to South Africa, when he had done that fabulous album, Graceland,
Yes.
Mandela heard them, he cried, and he said, these are the ambassadors of music for South Africa. And then with Johnny Clegg, he said, music is what soothes my soul, it gives me peace. And these two groups are so representative of South Africa, and in a year when we're marking the passing of Nelson Mandela, I couldn't think of anything more special to bring your family to. Not only will it be an incredibly entertaining evening, but it's a piece and a slice of history, and you really don't want to miss it on the intimate Van Wezel stage. So give us a call. I really, really recommend this. And then go to South Africa, because let me tell you, it'd probably be the trip of your lifetime. Then we go to different kinds of music, Miss Mays, something of your favorite.
Yep, Moody Blues.
Moody Blues.
I love Moody Blues.
You love Moody Blues. Because, of course, one of the guys lives here in the Bradenton area.
Yeah.
And they come.
Graham lives up in Bradenton.
Yep, Graham lives in Bradenton. And every show they do, you know, even though sometimes they'll play some of the same music, because, of course, you don't want to go to a Moody Blues show and not hear the famous hits.
Sure.
But they do a different show each time. And the energy, I mean, the way they play the guitar, you know.
Their band's smoking.
Oh my gosh. And we've seen it like, I don't know how many times.
Yeah, lots.
And I'll tell you, the Moody Blues is on my list, and there's still a few tickets available. Now I want to talk about my favorite performer, probably of all, and it is Patti LuPone. We have the greatest Broadway star, no holds barred. Patti LuPone is coming here to the Van Wezel with a brand new show. She's coming on March 25th. And I was telling you my story. Julia runs ads sometimes on the movies of Lakewood Ranch on the screens. And so she had Patti LuPone and another person. But Patti LuPone's show is called The Gypsy in My Soul. And the lady is sitting next to me is going, do they have gypsies down at the Van Wezel?
No,
and I'm like,
what is that?
What? And so finally, I of course, you know me, I couldn't shut up. So I butted in and I said, no, gypsies in the theater, the gypsies are the chorus. And she goes, well, is she a chorus member? I'm like, no, she's the greatest Broadway star of all time. She was Evita, you know, singing, and of course she was also a star of Gypsy, and she's
But
won.
it's a good tidbit, because people don't know what the gypsy in my soul means.
And she's talking
unless you're
about
in the theater.
her roots of her singing, and she's
Yeah.
going to sing some of her greatest Broadway hits. Also some new songs off her CD, Faraway Places. Don't miss Patti LuPone. It is March 25th. She was here about 3 or 4 years ago. Everybody said it was the best concert they ever heard, and believe me, this is really special. Then we have a couple more to talk about. We have Where the Action Is, and this is from, I keep talking about things of my life, but
And this is not a tribute.
no, these are the real
This
guys.
is like the real people.
That's what my neighbors said. They said, "Oh, this is
Yeah,
a
is this a
tribute." I'm like,
tribute?
no. And Where the Action was a television show. And when I was like 10 or 12, I used to run home from school every day, you know.
Yep.
And they had to have this on at like 4:30 after I fit General Hospital, and I went into this one. And so Paul Revere is coming with the Raiders, and then the Association, and they sing a very important song. Julia, do you remember?
Yeah, Along Comes Mary.
I don't think they meant me at the time. I think they were talking about something else, but you know, and that's March 26th. And these shows are so popular here at the Van Wezel. And then we were talking with our guest about they were sponsoring Indigo Girls, and this is with a full symphony orchestra. And Amy Ray and Emily Salyers, and I bet I just butchered that name, they have 4 new albums, and they've done all sorts of great new music.
They are absolutely amazing. I have never seen them live.
They were up at the Ruth Eckerd Hall last year,
Yeah.
sold out. Now, we still have tickets, but get them soon.
Get them soon.
Then we mentioned the Midtown Men. They're coming, and I think we're going to see some video behind us talking. And they are the original 4 guys from the Jersey
Yes.
Boys. One of them won the Tony Award, and they were here last year. They are also smoking,
Yes.
as you like to say, and that's March 30th. And then Mark Russell is the last one we're going to talk to you about today. Mark Russell is a comedian.
Another comedian.
Totally different kind of
Comedy
comedian.
rules at the Van Wezel
Comedy
this year.
rules. Mark Russell really was one of the first guys that did a lot of political satire. He sits at the piano. You will know him when you see him.
Yeah.
And tickets for that are going fast as well. And then next time we'll see you, we're going to be bringing you a picture of the new Van Wezel Cal, which may be We may have named it by then,
yeah.
but the Cal's been over at Booker High School for some time being painted, and I'm told it is imminently soon to arrive. So next time at the Van Wezel, not only will you see our terrace, you will see our Cal. So stay tuned, and we'll bring you lots of great shows next time.